Hi guys, content creator Issa here. Sorry, just adjusting my sound real quick. So today I'm going to be talking about Operation Hope and the fragmented abyss swaps. So Operation Hope is something you can access at level 95. It is in the closed area, which is right over there. And basically what you do is once you hit 95, you can talk to Severin. There's a talk quest here. You talk to her, complete the quest, and you'll unlock the area. So the point of the Operation Hope and the fragmented swaps is to increase your buff efficacy. So as you can see right now, I'm gonna go ahead and take it off real quick. I have a full, this is an event set, so I would take advantage of this event while you can. Great event. So it's basically filling out all my swaps for me. But basically what you want is you want a full set of armor for your class. So my buff is Dark Ritual as Necromancer. So I want a full Dark Ritual set. I want full Dark Ritual accessories. The only place where it differs would be the special equipment, and that has to do with your efficiency of your buff. If you're missing levels, you want the weaker versions, which give you more levels. If you have the levels from, say, your title, your aura, your top and bottom, maybe you got plats, you're rolling in money, or if you have a creature that gives you levels, like a petite pet. What you want to do is you want to go for the more efficient one. So I'll go ahead and explain that real quick here. You'll see there's the armor, accessories, right? These each cost 500. All the specials cost 500 to each. The weapons cost 900. You'll see here, this is the same ones the one I have equipped. So you'll see here it gives 3 levels, right? So say I'm at 17 from my other sources and I equip everything and I need 3, great, cool. Put those 3 in there. But say, I only need 2, right? Say I'm like at +8 and I need 2. And I'll be like, oh, that extra level is going to go to waste, right? No, not necessarily. You can get the distorted set, which gives you 2 levels and an additional skill attack increase on top of that. And then, of course, your warped is your most efficient one, which will be giving you only 1 level, but gives you double the skill damage of the distorted set. It might be different from class to class, but in this case, it is doubled. So you basically get these abyss fragments for running Operation Hope. They drop at the end. The account-bound version drop from various bosses, or you can buy them here at Severin's shop. If you disassemble Operation Hope equips you can't use, you get abyss fragments. Basically, all these different sources of fragments are what you use to buy your equipment. You will drop a decent amount inside the dungeon, but for the ones that maybe you're missing, they're all here for you to buy in the shop. I'll go ahead and explain the recipes a little bit later. I'll go ahead and explain the etc. tab a little bit later as well. Alright, so with that, let's go ahead and go in. So, alright, so the you can enter Operation Hope 3 times a week, and you can enter 3 times a day. So you can get it all done in 1 day if you want to. There is a fatigue cost per area of 4. So there's 4 different zones. It's sort of a big side scroller, sort of like Gao, and there's 4 different zones. And depending on what you get a quest when you're in the dungeon, depending on what quest, that'll determine what branching path you take. But you always use 16 every time. And then if you finish the quest, you get additional abyss fragments. So let's go ahead and start. Right, so I'm going to have Nick take care of those enemies while I explain this. So you'll see, you always start in East Slumber, right? My special mission for this one is defeat the Lich King in the slum. So the slum would be a path southward. So if I do that, I get an extra 60 on top of the completion, which is, I believe, 130, plus 4 if you get VIP. So obviously, this is a really easy dungeon to do. You can do it in Ghent Uniques. It was meant to be done in, honestly, 95 legs. But, Ghent Uniques are more than enough to clear this. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So it's a side-scroller, not too difficult. The enemies don't really hurt, and you can one-shot them, but be careful, because some of the mini-bosses really do hurt. or if you get bounced around, it does hurt a lot. So you'll see here, I can choose which area to go to, and it sort of lines up with my map, right? I can go north to Watcher's Cliff, or south to the slums. Look, there's a little quest marker next to the slums, so, I'm going to go that way so I can complete my quest. You cannot backtrack, by the way. So make sure that you don't get a little excited and accidentally clear a little bit too early. So here we're at our first mini-boss. You'll see the mini-bosses do kind of hurt compared to the regular enemies. Yeah, so you can get chunked. So just be careful, make sure you bring your healing items. Right, so every area is composed of every zone is composed of a few side-scrolling areas. But again, not too difficult, you're just going to go from zone to zone. And you're just going to defeat any enemy you come across. At the end of each zone, there's a mini-boss, and then you get to proceed to the next zone. So I believe we're coming up against the Lich King soon. Yep, right here. Alright, so I just gotta kill him real quick. And look at that, I completed the quest, right? So now it doesn't really matter what direction I go in, I just gotta keep moving forward. The only difference is, depending on what area you go, you'll encounter a different boss, and depending on what end area you finish in, you'll have a different boss too. The Greytown's boss is Heavy T-Shirt, Sugar Hill's boss is Mass Bernardo, Dying Forest boss is White Rust Sisley. I'm just gonna go ahead and go in Ground Zero, because it was right in front of me. No particular reason. There are little gimmicks for each area, but honestly, at this point in the level cap, they don't really matter. Doesn't really make too much of a difference. If you go this way, you get to ride a train. If you go another way, you gotta manage your way through, a cave or something. There's really no difference. It's just the enemies that you fight. Right. Hopefully we'll get to see one of the hidden bosses. I'm hoping he'll show up, but if he doesn't, it is RNG. That was not the hidden boss, by the way, sorry. He appears in any of the normal areas that aren't affected by mini-bosses. So, any of the normal screens, I should say. So I think I only have a couple more chances to encounter him. If we don't encounter him, that's fine. Happens. Okay, so we didn't encounter him, so I'll go ahead and explain what happens. Occasionally, when you enter an area, your screen will flash yellow, and this frog will jump up from the right side of your screen. Its name is Gluttony. If you kill Gluttony, you get 2 random equipment will drop, may or may not be for your class. You'll get red abyss fragments, 27 of them. It's always great when Gluttony appears. He can only appear once per dungeon, any number of times during that week, but only once per dungeon. The encounter rate, I would say, is like 30-ish%, like 1 in every 3 runs. I was recording a couple times and I messed up, and I got him the first time, but not the second time, and I'm on the 3rd time. So yeah, that's not too difficult. Just make sure that if you find him, beat him, and free equips. So we're gonna go ahead and move on to the boss now. Okay, so the boss is Sisley. Her big thing is, you fight her as an F mage first, and then she turns into her giant, rabbit thing. Alright. So every boss at the very end drops an equip, and then occasionally you also flip an equip as well. So I'm sorry, I escaped past that too quick. So I got a dropped equip right here and a flipped equip right here, and it could have been for my class. Unfortunately, it wasn't. If you get something for your class, it shines like an epic, and if you flip something for your class, it shows up as a gold card. You'll see here that I completed my missions. I completed all 3. I explained to you I messed up the first 2 while recording. So the abyss fragments here, you get 60 in addition to 130 for clearing. So with that combined with the amount that you get from dissing equips you can't use, so at least 10, because it's 5 per piece, you get roughly half a piece every time you run, half of a choosable piece. And you'll go ahead again, take these abyss fragments back to Severin, and you'll go ahead and use them to buy whatever you don't have already. I would run Operation Hope until you have at least a few thousand fragments and a few pieces, and then buy what you don't have. Alright, so now I'm going to explain the weapon. The weapon is more expensive. It's 900 because it gives a bonus by itself that is extremely high. So in this case, you have a regular weapon. So my buff is the Dark Ritual and Necromancer. So it gives me, say here, +1 to the skill and 10% skill attack. There also exists an S version. So I'm just gonna type here. So that one is 14%. So it gives me 4% more skill damage. It varies by class how much it increases. You get an S by crafting through a recipe, and I will warn you, the recipe is very, very... How should I put this? It's bad. It's bad. The RNG is bad. I'm sorry, there's no other way to put it. It basically costs you 20 refined tranium, which is like 2 million gold. It costs you 100 abyss fragments, plus the 50 to buy it. And the success rate is like, I kid you not, like 10, maybe 15% at the most. If you fail, you get these little black abyss fragments. You can turn those in for either, you can exchange them one for 50, so 50 account bound fragments. Or if you're feeling super down on your luck, you can save 10 of them, spend 8 for this untradeable conversion scroll, and then you need an additional 2 to actually make a weapon. So you need 10 total. So you need to fail 10 times. I've been one of the people who has had to do it 10 times back when there were not a whole lot of them on the market, or they were like super duper expensive. I really hope none of you guys have to go through what I did, but just know it can happen. If you play a class that's not very popular, or a class that is very popular, and your weapon keeps getting bought out on the auction hall, it can happen. You should also note, like I said, that being said, the ones on the auction hall, you can drop them from Operation Hope, and they will be tradable. Only if they're the S version, though. It's rare, but it happens. Alright, so some of the last things you can buy here, you can convert your account-bound ones here. You can also buy Operation Hope card album if you have everything you need on a character. What I like to do sometimes if I have extra legendary souls lying around is I'll buy pieces on other characters and transfer them at Maga Rosenbach. So the very last thing that you can do to get fragments, at Sebren at least, is that you can turn in 30 Aeolite. Every character has the ability to buy 14, so 700 of them total, for a total of, what would that be? 420 Aeolite? Expensive, but you know, if you don't feel like waiting, you can do it. You can also go ahead and every month from the Adventurers shop for 60 coins, you can pick up an Adventurers booty chest, level 1. It gives you 160 abyss fragments, which is a lot. And it doesn't cost a whole lot of coins compared to the other stuff, so you always want to make sure to buy this out if you have a character that needs swap equipment. Let's see. Talked about those. Okay, so the last place I wanted to talk about would be Pandemonium Meeting. So you get 81 materials per time that you run through on hard. You need 90 to buy out the week's amount, and you can buy 32 times 5 boxes that are account bound and last forever. You know, for future characters if you wish. That's 160 abyss fragments. Not a whole lot, but if you save up and a new character comes out that you want to play, you know, it's always nice to have those abyss fragments handy. And I'm sorry, one last place. You can also go to the mileage shop and get these abyss pouches. So these abyss pouches give you 10 to 100. In my experience, it's like closer to 20, 25 each time. Yeah. And again, RNG and mileage, it's up to you. It's honestly up to you. I've done it in the past, and it requires a lot of mileage. That's all I can say. But if you're a big spender and you want to spend it on that, and you feel that that's appropriate and worth your time, then by all means, it's all up to you. So again, just to recap, Operation Hope is to get this Abyss swap equipment. You slot everything in, get your skill damage, looks really good in raids, you get accepted, all good stuff. So make sure, and again, make sure that you're not just focusing on this. Get titles when they're available, get an aura, slot a platinate, get a top and a bottom, slot a platinate if you need it. And get a creature. You know, petite creatures come out like literally all the time. So you know, hopefully you can get one at that point. And yeah, I wish you guys the best of luck. I hope none of you have to uh, fail 10 times with the S weapon, or you can just straight up buy your weapon. Like I said, all you do just search your buff on the auction house. So let's see, borderline paranoia. Okay, I think I was overcharge. All right, look. Okay, so there's a female one for overcharge here. So they do pop up on auction house. Depending on the class, they can be less expensive. Let's see. Let's try to find a more expensive one. Well, anyway, you can play around with it for right now. But yeah, you should be able to find a couple of them at least on the auction house. Here we go. Okay, there's not a whole lot actually. I'm surprised. But yeah, here you go. So you have some for what is it? Robotics. You can find all different kinds on the auction house. You should keep checking. I really do suggest you keep checking. And with that, that is the end of this sort of quick guide. And again, it's impromptu. I'm sorry, I'm not a big video editor. I just try to go through these things and be as like down to earth and personal as possible. I know just like throwing a bunch of visuals doesn't work with people sometimes, and I'm more of a really long guide writer myself, so I really do appreciate those of you who take the time to sit down and watch these videos. I really do hope they're helpful. And again, thank you so much for your time. Good luck out there.